welcome to this painting time-lapse. This is my first time really doing a voiceover, and I'm pretty nervous, so please bear with me. For this painting, I decided to try out, per se, a new painting technique I've seen others do, which is beginning with the darkest parts of the face. In the end, I do think it made the painting look more realistic when I was finished it, and I actually really enjoyed painting the darkest parts of the face, which includes the eyebrows, the eyes, and most of the shadows on the face, of course. One thing that I struggled with while painting in this technique was overblending, which took away from the contrasting shadows. The contrasting shadows is actually something I was trying to achieve with this painting, but then again, I have a habit of overblending in all of my paintings and not just this specific painting style. I really have to learn to let the colors just be on my palette before I begin blending. Although granted, it is something I love doing, and I tend to get lost in the time process of blending everything together. It's, something just that I love. And my train of thought just derailed. Oh dear. Something I've also really enjoyed is making the subject blush or giving her more of a rosy skin tone. I do end up really liking the end result of the rosy blush tone, or the blush, since I can often relate to it since everything makes me blush. When I'm really engaged with my painting or slaving over details of the face, I tend to get lost in time, and before I know it, hours have passed, sometimes more. It's almost like I'm traveling down a very concentrated tunnel, with my only thoughts being about the painting. This is a very oddly unique thing for me, since generally my thoughts seem to kind of jump around, and I have difficulty focusing on something. But when I get lost in the painting, it's like everything else becomes frozen. It's one of the biggest reasons I've started painting in the first place. The entire process is very therapeutic for me, and it helps unwind my mind after a stressful or busy day. Now, the reason why I've decided to do a voiceover is so that I can reflect back on not my skill, but myself as a person. I know I'm still growing mentally, and to have like a piece of my thoughts to reflect back on, I think would be pretty interesting as to see how far I've gotten mentally, alongside my skill, of course. But as a person, I do want to continue to grow and change, despite how old I get or despite the circumstances going on around me. Granted, I don't want to come off as forcing my ideals or what I want to others. I just want to chat and reflect back on it someday. During the holidays, it became really busy, and for me, when everybody's rushing around, I kind of get stressed out, so that caused me to go on a bit of an art block. Unfortunately, when I go on art block, it hits hard and I don't end up painting for a while, which could be anywhere up for a few days to a few weeks. I do not force myself to paint. I've heard a lot of people, to get over art block, you do that, but I know if I do that, I'm gonna get burnt out, and I'd sooner be on art block than be burnt out, which to me is two very different things. Being burnt out is awful, rather art block is just feeling stuck. So generally, I give myself a little break and yeah, I look for inspiration. I generally tend to go to different artists and either watch their videos or look at their paintings and their pictures, and sometimes I'll see something and it sparks my creativity again. And that moment after a while I haven't painted, when my creativity just sparks randomly, it's probably one of the best feelings for me. It's just a feeling of being stuck for so long and then just finally being able to do something. On her shoulder, I did want to add sort of a third eye, which went along with my dreamy theme. I wanted it to represent the subject being aware of the fact that she's caught in a state of ambience. I didn't exactly get to look how I had initially envisioned it, but ultimately I'm happy with how it turned out. Next, for the background of this painting, I wanted it to be more of a dreamy state of ambience, somewhat like a mixture of calm and chaos. As usual though, I had a hard time coming up with that idea, and it did take quite a few weeks, 2 or 3, and many attempts to finish it. To further go along with the whole ambience theme of the painting, I figured blue would be the best color to go with it, as it's such a diverse color, not to mention my favorite. Unfortunately, some of the recording files for the background painting time-lapse became corrupted, and I wasn't able to use them or further add them into this painting time-lapse. The files that actually became corrupted were the contrasting red mushrooms I decided to add as the finishing touches to the painting. They were my favorite part to paint, although, since they do remind me of the outdoors, and I miss the greenery of the summertime, as right now we're kind of surrounded in a few feet of snow. Winter is beautiful at times, but I do think my heart belongs in summer. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, then subscribe. Hope you have a great day. Bye.